Greetings, beloved. This is your host, Anthony Powers. This is Togetherness Media. We are so excited to have you here today. We have an amazing, amazing show for you. Man, we have some beautiful guests. Speaking of beautiful guests, we're starting off with the empathetic, the insightful, the beautiful, the intelligent, the lovely, the caring, the romantic Coach Bane Sadigh.
I love the introduction. Okay, how are
Yes,
you doing, Anthony?
I'm
Good to be with
divine.
you
How are
again.
you?
Very good,
Oh, it's
very good.
always a pleasure being with you.
First and foremost, my deepest condolences about grandfather's transition. May he be
Thank you.
surrounded
Appreciate
with
it.
light, and may his memory be always a beacon of light for you and your loved ones.
Thank you. I
But been
appreciate it.
thinking about it.
Thank you. Yeah, he's been freed from the physical body, which no longer served him.
Yeah,
The physical body no longer served him as a vessel for his spirit. So it was time for the spirit to move on. Just as when we have when we have clothing that no longer fits, or when we have a car that just completely breaks down, and no matter what you do to it, it won't start running again. It's time to
exactly.
move on to something to carry you on to the next stage of your existence. And
Yes.
I'm grateful for
He'll
the
be
time
with
he
you
was
here
here.
in your
Exactly.
heart.
And yes, and he'll come in a dream if I request that as well. So that's a
Absolutely.
beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
today,
So,
today I'm excited to talk with you about this subject because I know what a romantic you are, and and uh, and I know how a lot of people are in this crazy times. We're going to talk about
mm,
Valentine's in the time of COVID, and there are a lot of people who are trying to find interesting ways to celebrate, and also because of the pandemic, they may not have somebody to celebrate with, or sometimes they may be doing celebrating it with somebody who isn't really that for them, but they just want to celebrate the holiday. So, so I, so I'd love to
exactly.
hear your take on all of these things.
So, first and foremost, Valentine's Day. I have an interesting story about Saint Valentine. So, there's a legend that back in about third century, yeah, there was a Roman emperor called I forget his name,
In the
Gothius.
third century was Constantine.
Yes. So, uh, what happened was Saint Valentine was always preaching about Christianity and telling about how wonderful Christianity is and how miraculous, pure, and divine it is. So he got imprisoned. Saint Gothias got him imprisoned and
Mm.
gave the custody of Saint Valentine to one of his assistants. Okay,
Uh-huh.
uh, his name was Asterius. Now they started talking, and of course Saint Valentine started talking about Christianity, and Asterius told him, "You know what? If you can heal my blind child, I will convert and I will believe in
Mm.
Christianity's faith." So Saint Valentine took on the challenge, accepted the challenge, and put his hand over the child's eyes and said something from one of the palms of the Bible, and miraculously the child started seeing again. So
Mm.
Asterius and his whole entire family converted to Christianity.
Mm.
When the emperor found out about this, the whole family was executed, and Saint Valentine was beheaded. And he was
Mm.
beheaded on February 14th.
Ah,
So
nice.
I have no idea, and I have no connection, no way of connecting beheading of Saint Valentine with romance, love, and lovers. And the legend goes on that when he was beheaded, where he was buried, years later, many churches were built on that location. And every
Huh.
church claimed that they have a piece of Saint Valentine's skull which brings miracles to your life.
Hmm.
So that was
Hmm.
their whole perimeter of bringing more people into their churches. Now,
Huh.
fast forward 1,000 years later, a
Eh,
British
one thing
host.
is, he won't be the first or last person to lose their head to love.
True, maybe that's the connection. I don't know. So many
And
years later, about a
yeah.
thousand years later, a British writer writes a book about birds and birds mating, and he decides to dedicate February 14th for mating of birds. And this
Uh-huh.
somehow in the British culture became accustomed to love and lovers and mating and intimacy. Now,
Is that where the story of the birds and bees originated? Like,
probably, yes. So, uh, going now, changing a little bit about Valentine's Day. Uh, I'm not a big Valentine's Day gal. Oops. I because I tell you why. Uh, and I have a theory. I have a way of living that why have it once a year? Why do we have Valentine's Day and not a Valentine life? Because
mm-hmm.
so many of us have so much high expectation and the anticipation of Valentine's Day, that I'm going to be loved, that I'm going to be gifted, showered with gifts, and all these expectations building up in our minds just for one day. And it puts a
Yeah.
tremendous pressure on some people, whether
Yeah.
you are with someone or not with someone. uh, it brings sort of a kind of an anxiety in people that I have.
Yeah.
It's kind of a forced way of saying I love you. It's not volunteer. It's
Yeah. It's a
it's
very
it,
commercial. It's a Hallmark
exactly,
holiday.
exactly. So it's not automatic. It's not the way that love needs to be shared with one another. It's kind of deliberate. I'm forced to do
Mm-hmm.
it. And a lot of times we hear horror stories about Valentine's Day. People started going on this romantic day, which doesn't end as they expected. So when
Yeah.
we hype ourselves and we start having expectation and the anticipation of the night going well, it's definitely a gig for failure. It's not gonna last.
Yeah.
It's not a cohesive, it's not a romantic way of saying that you love your partner. That's why I'm not a big fan of Valentine's Day. And I think I call it a hallmark holiday because I think the only people that benefit from Valentine's Day are uh, chocolatiers, flower shops, and restaurants, and
Winemakers.
winemakers. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't have a problem expressing love or showing extra care on a particular day, as long as you know that, okay, I did this much, so the rest of the year or the rest of the month, I'm off the hook. I've bought gifts, I
Yeah.
bought flowers, I did this, and usually it's the guy that does all of the buying and preparation and the expenses. Why not
Yeah.
the woman buying the guys whatever they want?
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's kind of,
that's
first
on
of
a
all,
lot of
it's kind of,
holidays. Father's Day, fathers get screwed on Father's Day. Like it's
so yes, it's kind of lopsided for me, and it feels as if I'm buying you gifts in order to be intimate with you at the end of the night. It's kind of a
hmm
give and take that it's not natural. uh, it is, I mean, it is beautiful to share your love, to have a special evening together. However, especially during the pandemic, it doesn't need to be that glamorous or that
Yeah.
extravagant. It needs, the two of you need to get together and really enjoy one another. That's what
Yes.
Valentine's Day should be. It's not about chocolates. It's not about flowers. It's not about jewelry. It's not about uh, getting things. It's just about you expressing your love to whoever that is. And some people
Yeah.
don't have a romantic partner. It could be your neighbor. You just, you knock on their door and say, you've been a great neighbor and I love you for that. It's just
Yes.
expressing what you feel. So if we go that route, then I have
Hmm.
no problem, and I love, love, love the idea of sharing love and kindness and expressing our love. But
Yeah.
but once it becomes commercialized and it becomes a way of business almost like, then I'm not for it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Um, it makes complete sense. One thing I was thinking about while we were talking is not often enough people will actually take the time to love themselves on Valentine's Day. Start off the day with something where you really tell yourself that you love yourself. Find ways to express that either in the mirror or through self affirmations or through a gift or through a card, especially those who don't have anybody who's romantic with them, but even people who are in a romantic relationship. And another thing, like I said, I recommend in this things is, and you touched on this briefly with neighbors, if there are friends, groups of friends, even if they're like platonic friends and they're close friends, and they find ways to show each other that you guys love each other on that day. Like there's ways to even be like, even if it's platonic romance, and even if it's a self romance, falling in love with yourself all over again.
I
Um,
love you for saying that, because if people know the way I teach and I work with my clients, the very, very first thing that I emphasize is self love, because I
yes,
call it the foundation of everything worthwhile in your life. Everything else that you are building in your life depends on how you love yourself, how you respect yourself, how you see
yeah,
yourself worthy in the world. So, yes, thank you for pointing that out. It is extremely important to start loving ourselves. We tend to think that loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves is selfish.
yeah,
Far from selfish. So far from selfish. if we if I mean, this is cliche. People say often that how can you love someone else if you don't love yourself, which is very true, because
exactly.
you need to have your tank full in order to be able to give it out. If your tank of love is empty, how can you give love to someone else? So thank
Yeah,
you again for pointing that out.
yeah,
It's extremely important. Write a love letter to yourself, acknowledge yourself, respect yourself, and have a gratitude journal for yourself, and really acknowledge all the things that you are grateful about yourself. We forget to
yes,
really pause, look inside, and see what it is that makes us who we are. What are
truth.
the
Um,
qualities that
I used,
makes Anthony this unique?
yeah. I used to, I still say, like, when people describe my music, I say my music is love music in the truest sense of the word. Because before a man could love a woman, he has to first love himself, his God, and his people. And that totality of love and loving those things, like if you treat everybody else ugly in your life, then you can't truly love the mate that you're with. Um, so
Right.
like there's just find ways just to express that on this Valentine's Day. And also, like you said, that pressure, man. So many people have that pressure, and so many people feel like they're failures if they don't have
Exactly.
somebody to love, like a romance to love. I was having a conversation I think it may have been yesterday, about like some of my groups of friends, like some people I know who are really, really, really good people who just were like lonely for so long, even though they tried for love, they just weren't able to find that connection or the person that clicked with them. A lot of them are just like really just nice, good guys that are maybe quote unquote too good of guys, but that's a conversation for a whole nother day.
Yeah.
The self fulfilling,
I I
please.
remember you pressure, the pressure that we put on ourselves. I remember before COVID, I was buying cards in the card aisle, and it was Valentine's Day, and this guy was like so nervously looking through the cards and anxiously just throwing one out and taking another one out, and he finally took one out, and he gave it to me, and he said, do you think this is good? I'm like, sure. If I mean, I don't know your wife. Who are you? He said, I'm buying it for my wife. I'm late for work and I need to get this, and I don't know what to do. There's too many choices. And I said, yeah, this is a good one. Just take this one. So the pressure that we want to please our partner, and
Yeah,
the failures that we think we are facing by not doing the right thing, it's not worth the trouble. It's not worth
yeah,
one night, so make it easy on yourself, really. Just
yeah, D-
because unfortunately it has become more about the gift and the card rather than the
yeah,
meaning of Valentine's Day. You didn't
yeah,
buy the right kind of a chocolate, or the jewelry you bought was too small. I wanted that kind of an earring and not this kind of an
yeah.
earring.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the disappointments that comes from
A
all of
princess
this
cup, not a
anticipation.
marquise. I didn't want a marquise cut. I wanted a princess cut.
Yeah, I mean, the meaning behind it gets buried
Yeah.
because of all these expectations that we put on ourselves. And
I
just,
have two
this
questions.
year, make it easy on yourself. Just go easy and just really pay attention to what it means to love your partner, what it really
Yeah,
means to love one another, and
yeah.
and emphasize on that.
I have two questions. First question, did he also ask for advice on the card for his girlfriend? And second question, do you think some of the pressure, like I know, like it kind of started as a kid, like even when you have to like bring the Valentines, like for like the different kids in the class, and who gives you a Valentine, and the quality of the Valentine that you got from different people, and all of that. I think like for a lot of people, that pressure starts in school, like during that entire prospect, like of the trading of cards, even there. What do you think about that?
Exactly. And imagine that kid that doesn't get a card or doesn't get a
Yeah,
candy or doesn't get. It's just, again, uh, the pressure is too much. As kids, as
and then
adults, as
and then also
very.
coming from a poor family, like a poor families, like I know in fourth grade I started getting bused. Like I grew up, we were rich in spirit, but financially we weren't affluent. And I traveled, like, and I started getting bused across town to the other side of town. And most of the kids that I went to school with were either upper middle class or extremely wealthy. And the quality of the cards that the other kids were had, like had, like it put pressure on, put pressure on me, just being a kid who just didn't have as much
Yeah,
as everybody else, to like to make sure I just had, just had something, or had something that was at least decent comparatively.
decent.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
Because
I think that's where the pressure starts for a lot of people.
yes, as kids, we compare ourselves, and uh, that lack stays with us. As a kid, as a young kid, when we come from lack and we see ourselves as not having, we put on a certain beliefs. We take on certain beliefs that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough. All of the negative beliefs that somehow boils up in our adulthood comes from all these pressures and all these uh, unintentional uh, pressures that we put on our kids. And
Yeah,
as you said, as a young child, I'm sure that going through that was stressful for you, and um, it brought up a lot of meanings for you, that this what, when I don't have, it means this. When I can
Yeah,
afford this, then it means this about myself. So a lot of self-reflected wounds and negative beliefs that we take on, and we unfortunately carry it on for years to come. It's not
yeah,
easy to let go of the beliefs that we set for ourselves as children. And
yeah. So,
unfortunately, another thing that happens, once we take on a belief, we look for reinforcements
mm,
to make that belief a truth. you
yeah,
know that's the default. We tend to look for situations, circumstances, and uh, events that reinforces that belief in us, and say, and the subconscious mind goes, see, I told you that that's the way it is. I told you you're not
yeah,
good enough. I told you you don't
yeah,
have enough. So all of that gets carried on through our adulthood.
yeah.
And it takes
So,
years of soul searching, years of therapy, years of working on ourselves to dismantle and eliminate these limiting beliefs on ourselves, about
truth.
ourselves.
So I have a question. Well, I want to get, so I know, speaking of finances, because of COVID, more people are financially, have to be financially prudent and frugal this year than they've had to be in the past. And I just wanted to go over with you like a few ideas that people can do to show that they love each other without spending money, like cooking a meal, taking a
Cooking
long
a
walk together. If you have, like, if you're an artist, like if you're a singer, if you're a painter, if you're a poet, um, if you're a carpenter, create something. If you're not, make a song list, like make us like a song list, like make a playlist of beautiful love songs that you think that your person will love, like a foot massage,
Yeah,
any,
or
like
just
any other suggestions.
close your eyes and think about the person that you want to spend Valentine's Day with, and really uh, concentrate on the characteristics. What is it that you love about that person?
Mm,
List them. List the
yeah,
good qualities about that person. And this, I mean, this can be more beautiful than any card or any
mm,
wine or any chocolate. It comes from your heart. It's authentic. This is how I feel about you,
yeah,
Anthony. These are the
yeah,
qualities that I see in you, and I want to spend time with you. So, as you said, create something beautiful and meaningful. It doesn't need to be
yeah,
expensive. It doesn't need to be uh, brand or any kind of expensive item. It just needs to come from the heart. And
the
cook
suggestion
a
you
meal
made.
together,
Yes,
plan maybe a hike together, a walk by the beach and watch the sunset together, so go
yeah,
biking together. So many things you can do that doesn't need a lot of money. You don't need to spend a
yeah.
lot of money to have a good time and quality time with your partner.
Yeah. What you were saying, your suggestion of that list reminded me of the old Shakespeare. How do I love you? Let me count the ways. That old, yeah, like
Yes.
it, that, like it really, yes. Like, and
Count the
that's another
ways.
thing. Like, yeah, find, even like the
You know
movies,
what?
like a
I
romantic
just thought
movie,
of
but like,
something.
or like
Sorry for cutting.
find a play quote or a poem that you can remember or recite if you're not a
Yes.
writer yourself.
And you know what? Something fun you can do with these qualities. Write them on sticky notes and just place them on different places of your of wherever you're spending time with. If it's her place or your place, or you're sharing a place, just randomly place them on the mirror that she sees herself, on the refrigerator, under the plate that
Hmm.
you're eating together. So just play with it and have fun with it, and just be creative.
Yeah. And extra points if they're, maybe a heart-shaped sticky note. Even if you, like, if you can't find some to buy, you can even just cut them yourself, like, and cut the sticky notes in little heart
That's
shapes
extra
or by
bonus,
heart shapes one if you have the chance for extra points. You'll get like
extra
some
bonus.
like a little
Exactly.
bonus. Or
Exactly.
another thing you could do, you just made me think of a really good idea is a game. You could create a game of it if you have like little things like little poems or like small things hit in different places. You could use the sticky notes as clues for different things to find a game, almost like created like almost like a scavenger hunt or a treasure hunt to find the little knickknacks in love, like, and that just shows that you cared and that
Absolutely.
you're really thinking about them, and it's and then
Yeah.
you guys will have fun together.
Have fun together. Yes. There's so many
Yes.
ways you can have fun together. And it doesn't need to
And
be
pick sticky
expensive.
notes up for yourself. If you're alone, put those sticky notes all over the place for yourself. For
I
yourself,
love
which call
sticky
it.
notes. I use sticky
Yes,
notes
put
for
them around.
everything. They're the greatest thing.
Put them your
The greatest
exactly. Put them
invention.
yourself. Yeah, like if you're
The,
alone, put sticky notes like you're beautiful, you're like intelligent, you are wise, you are worthy. Put the like if you don't have somebody else who can show you love that day, do that for yourself.
yeah.
Put little reminders,
And
and that'll help
cook a
reinforce
meal
that in
for
yourself.
yourself. Pop,
Yes,
yes. Open up a glass of wine and just enjoy yourself, enjoy your company. Remember, being lonely and being alone is very different.
yeah,
When we are alone, we tend to think that we are lonely. We're not lonely.
yes,
We have, I mean, uh, true that I'm not with my family or with the ones that I love at the moment, or I don't have a love of my life at this moment. But there's so many people that care about me, so I'm not lonely. I'm alone at this moment in life, and that can be a great thing to be alone by yourself and really um understanding and getting to know yourself a little bit deeper. So distinguish between being alone and being lonely.
yes,
Just being by yourself doesn't mean that no one loves you, doesn't mean that you are lonely and no one cares about you.
yeah.
Just be okay with being alone sometimes.
Yeah, you made me think of that Eleanor Rigby, the Ray Charles version. All the lonely people, where do they all come from? All the lonely people. Yeah, little Ray Charles.
True.
Um,
Yeah. So
yeah, but call it and have a funny Valentine. The song "Funny Valentine." Have a funny Valentine. Laugh
have a
about it. If you're alone, laugh about it. If you're together, laugh about it. If you're not with the person you're with, laugh about it. Which call it, don't lament. It's supposed to be a fun holiday in the end. And the end, it's not supposed to bring sorrow. It's not supposed to bring you sadness. It's not supposed to bring you stress. It's supposed to be, quote unquote, a day to celebrate love. And
love.
celebration shouldn't be stressful. Celebration should be jubilant. Celebration should be unbridled and filled with joy.
And great. And celebration of love doesn't only mean a romantic love, self love,
Exactly.
neighbor's love, child love, parents love, um, planets love. I mean, what animal, cat love, dog love. It's
Yes.
just
Just don't give them
it's
chocolates.
it's a day for you to express your loving feelings towards other human beings and
Yeah.
creatures and the planet. So
Yes.
even if you're alone, go have a good time, go enjoy yourself, spend a day, pamper yourself. If you can, get a massage. If not, go out, enjoy, have a peaceful and serene walk,
Yeah.
and remember to love yourself first.
Yes. And I love you, Coach Bonnie, and I thank you so much for coming on our show today and having
Thank
this conversation with
I
us.
always have fun doing these things on Thursday evenings with you. I get insights. I love your wisdom. I love your energy, and I truly appreciate who you are. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to converse and learn from one another. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you as well. Like, I always receive so much insight and clarity and missing pieces to puzzles that I have been trying to place together. And I'm certain that all of our viewers receive the same from your caring, giving, compassionate nature. I wish you and Dr. Sadigh the most wonderful, beautiful, romantic, invigorating, and vibration raising Valentine's Day. Thank you so much.
Same for you. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. This is Anthony Powers. We coming right back, man. This is Togetherness Media. This is this. Hey, Banang. We'll see you in a few ticks.